Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another scene set in Our Crusade, Season 2. This scene we set within Abraham's Fountain, a place of pilgrimage for three different faiths, the three different faiths of Abraham. A holy place, a saintly place of healing, introspection, and spirituality. A place of God. So then, what the fuck is Solahdrin doing here?
Not a place of the one true God. Hail said.
Yes. This is odd. You seem lost, friend.
Friendo. Hey, friendo. What? You look like you need some Jesus.
Yes. Yes. So Solahdrin, you're in a place that you would probably never go to because, well, this is really just anathema in every real sense of the word to what you believe in. Alas, you'll come down here to meet a very special somebody, a very old somebody, a very powerful somebody, somebody who, despite their age, has not been in the city for a very long time, but has probably known it for far longer. And that person being, yes, very much so, the Wishing Woman, who is known to reside here, more like do business here, to be here, to do things here. No one's really sure. Everyone just knows she is here a lot, committing what are most likely breaches of tradition, but nobody really in a position to handle the situation.
Whose domain is this? This is the Tremere's domain, isn't it?
Half of it is. The Wishing Woman, well, you're not sure if she acts within those boundaries or not, but tonight she is not. Or at least you have traversed through Tremere domain and have not found her, so she is likely not. Again, you're allowed to pass through domains as long as you don't linger, as long as you're not like feeding or anything silly. You can just walk through them. Otherwise, traveling through the city would be pretty impossible.
Yeah, he's going to be walking around in his obfuscate anyway. So he will be walking around hidden from sight, looking for this beacon of hope in mid the sea of darkness so that he can help hope for blot it out. With extreme prejudice.
Yes. As you walk down through Abraham's fountain, some very important things to describe as you go through. So when you step foot within the district, it does not feel pleasant at all. In fact, it kind of feels as if the earth is kind of burning your feet. And the air is more like water than it is actual air. It's almost as if the land itself is just trying to push you out. It's painful to be here. Your beast feels uneasy at certain points. It just wants you to leave entirely. It feels very afraid. Even your more rational self feels kind of wrong being here. It's clear that this place feels very toxic to your kind. It's not actively damaging you, but it's more than simple irritants to be here. It is borderline painful, searingly painful to be here. It just feels horrible. You would rather be anywhere else right now. It's not even really easy to move. Like you can walk down here and imitate it. Actually, you have poems, so you can kind of push through the metaphysical barrier that kind of exists, but it's still a slog. And as you traverse through and go in deeper, do you head towards the fountain or try and find a way around it?
He'll head towards the fountain because he's never seen it.
Oh, cool. Roll me courage.
Difficulty?
For your road, ooh, probably 8.
Oh dear.
As you approach the fountain, your beast almost leaps out of your chest.
That's 2 10s.
Okay, your beast leaps out of your chest. You pull it back in, but you understand why it's doing it and what it's doing. Yeah, looking upon this fountain feels it's kind of that sense of repulsion magnified by 10. Yeah, looking at it hurts your eyes. In fact, even with a successful courage check, you really struggle to look at it. You feel more comfortable looking away at it, looking away from it.
Solahdrin, question: are there people around it?
Oh yes, yes. There are people paying their respects. There are people praying. There are people even collecting water from the fountain. It is something that is permitted. You're allowed to do that.
I was going to say he really does. Okay, he is going to give a single gold coin, so a lot of money, to a street urchin that may be nearby, like somebody, like just a child or something like that, to fill a vial of water for him. And there's a very specific reason he wants it. He will then tell the child to wipe the bottle clean before handing it to him.
Sure, you find a beggar somewhere who's willing to do this for you.
Excellent. I will tell GM why I want. So when I eventually have to go to that fountain, I saw a cross was really effective last time. Let's try some holy water.
Castlevania approves. But yes. Yep, you can do that. That will happen. He'll probably you find a street urchin after dealing with a wishing well or something. There's not a lot of beggars necessarily around the fountain, mainly because the fountain is there's a fairly heavy city watch presence here for very obvious reasons, because this is a holy site, so no fuckery.
But I take it that him just touching the outer glass of his bottle does not burn him or anything melodramatic, does it?
No. You might feel slightly uneasy, but you don't feel anything. Like you can actually hold the vial of water without like being, oh god, please stop, panic.
Oh god, please stop the panic. And I do successfully. I'm going to turn on Aura Sight and look at the fountain.
Oh, okay.
Because I haven't done that yet. I haven't fucked myself up in that way.
Changing your nature to masochist. Okay, it is. I like how gold means spiritual in V20, but means taken by ecstasies, and I guess that just means spiritual. Oh god, is it gold? It is blinding gold. It literally is so golden, and I'm not even exaggerating. It is like a miniature sun. I'll also roll me courage again.
Oh god damn it! Difficulty.
Yeah.
What's the difficulty?
I don't know, difficulty 8 again.
I'm going to spend a willpower.
As you look at it, it even feels hot, and thank God you spent that willpower. Yeah, it even feels hot, even though you're just looking at it with Aura Sight. It is, yeah, it's literally blinding. Like your vision is temporarily blurred and marred when you look away from it.
He is going to blink off the Aura Sight, like, nope. This is a whole bunch of nope with some nope on top with some nope.
It's almost as if Kanites have a reason for being nowhere near this place.
Which is an interesting quandary as to why the Tremere are here.
Well, no one wants to live here, so uh,
But
anyway, something's a
continue
little
on.
empty then. Yes, you can continue onwards, as you don't really have to continue far, as the Wishing Woman is not particularly far from the fountain itself.
Oh, there we go then.
Yeah, she's in a small square, as it were. Um,
How blatantly is she breaking the silence on a scale of 1 to, oh God, lay on hands?
oh, I mean, she's literally doing sort of pseudo lay on hands, faith healing. Which, to be fair, is fairly prominent, but it's kind of it's sort of a, like, kind of pushing the boundaries, lady. Like, yeah, you see kind of a line, that is formed up to deal with her as a small crowd around her, and she is tending to the sick.
Very casually, he
She
is going to.
seems. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say he's just going to walk towards her very casually, and he's going to lean against her because Solahdrin does his best sass when he's leaning, apparently. And he will simply say in a very quiet voice, he will say in a very quiet voice, you know that such blatancy is oftentimes considered to be vulgar, I should think.
Okay, you're whispering. Yes, that won't really challenge your obfuscate. She
Oh no, I'm sorry. A point of fact, he dropped out of his obfuscate in a shadowy corner before walking over. So he
fair
can.
enough.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. She doesn't answer you initially. She finishes her faith healing. And she looks at you and gives you an extremely plastic, well, plastic doesn't exist yet, but very forced, fake, constructed smile. Awfully pleasant looking. Oh boy. So lovely, so polite, such an innocent lady. And she says, oh, what is it that I can do for you this evening, sir?
I think it is best for everyone's sake if you and I have a private conversation, my lady. I will not keep you overly long.
The smile just grows like even more fake and plastic, as if it could grow even more so, given the fact that she is a Cappadocian and she does look pale, very pale. She kind of has this sort of eerie beauty to her, like it's sort of human but not. As she just says, very little outweighed the needs of my flock, so.
He will lean in very, very close, as like to whisper in the ear. Like the forked tongue almost tickling the ear. And he will say the following sentence just to judge the reaction. And he will say, I simply come on behalf of, or rather, I come to inquire after a specific lady whom you may be acquainted with, my dear lady. You might be acquainted with, my lady. So I'm just trying to find the name in my long ass thing of longness. 1 second. Ooh. Shit, that was the
As
wrong
you
one.
can tell, I'm a silver-tongued gentleman.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Perhaps you know of her. In the old tongue, she was called Marie.
Roll me perception empathy.
Will my Allspecs kick it? Oh no, you don't do that for
I don't
flying.
do that because it's OP.
It's OP.
Is bully. But yeah, feel free to roll a perception empathy. There is no contest.
Wow.
There is
Yes.
wow. That's actually a lot of successes.
That's 5 successes.
There's no real reaction other than curiosity and a raised eyebrow, and the same forced smile that clearly indicates that you are, for some reason, anathema to her. But yes, as you say this and whisper to her, she actually takes the next person, continues the faith healing, and then responds. She seems to mutter some sort of incantation under her breath. It's not in a language you know, to my knowledge.
Can I roll in intelligence academics to maybe identify what the language is, even if I can't speak it? I also have history as a spec, which might be helpful if it's a very old language.
This would be more along the lines of laws than. I'll let you make an academics check. The information will be generalized as a result there.
That's entirely fine. The difficulty?
I'll say 8.
2 successes.
It's fairly out there. It's very obscure. And it's not linguistics you're using as history, so. It's well, it's more about ruling out languages. It's not Latin. It's not Latin based. It doesn't really appear to be Indo-European at all, to be honest. In fact, to your knowledge, to your fairly significant historical knowledge, it doesn't really appear to match the sort of the roots of any language you're aware of. So it's either incredibly old, a language has been lost to time, a coded language, and as such is effectively, I say made up. All languages are made up to an extent, but you know what I mean. It's a coded language, lost to time, or mystical, like magical language. In which case, it's an entirely different ballgame, and that would take a lot of different.
I choose to point out of character because I run a lot of weird ass games. Fucking vampires with a Nokian. I'm judging you silently.
I never said that.
You didn't.
I'm just
fucking with you. But he will wait. He will stand back. He will wait. He's kind of looking at his nails very casually, like, "Oh yeah, no, that's fine. I have all night."
I mean, so does she. She says, "Well, I know many Marys."
Indeed. However, some of them have very specific, interesting writings that they care to put down on black stone tablets.
Wouldn't be blackstone, be clay, if I recall. But yes.
Unlike you, my lady, I am a humble servant of the domain, which is why I don't choose to talk about this in front of the unwashed masses.
Oh well, she doesn't say clay. It's the ST being a dick.
All right, sorry. He will clarify the point.
Yeah, I was just being a pedant. But yeah, she says, "Well, I know very few people who write such things. In fact, I know of precisely none."
Yes. And it is on the matter of her that I have come to talk to you. But as I said, I am happy to wait until you are done with your matters of faith, while it is the city could itself be slipping further and further into the abyss. But that's neither here nor there. After all, I'm sure that these individuals who have a touch of gout or a bad tooth will be so much more liberated when it comes time and certain gates creak open. But that's entirely up to you.
She'll take her time. She'll go through. She'll go through the next few people. She's not going to blow you off entirely. But she will get through some of the more immediate quote patients she needs to go through. As the range of ailments seems to vary from minor fevers to straight up leprosy. She claims to be able to kill them all. There are not necessarily any immediate effects that are overt in what she does, although everybody who receives her treatment claims to feel better. You don't actually. You can roll me perception medicine on the lepers.
Do I actually have medicine?
Because they actually have some fairly significant symptoms, and as such, it would be very easy to spot changes in those
I,
symptoms.
in fact, do not possess medicine, so I can't roll it.
Okay. You can make me a straight perception roll. I normally wouldn't allow this, but because the changes are fairly, like they are obvious, like you won't need medical knowledge to necessarily spot the physical change in a person.
What's the diff?
I'll say perception diff 7.
So with all specs, that'll nuke it down to 5. Only the one success.
You do see some of their more notable physical deformities begin to. It's very minor to start out with. It's like mainly some of their, how do you say, it's the scarring, the sort of sores that begin to fix themselves first. It's where she places her hands where the healing seems to take effect. Very much like a lay on hands, as claimed.
There's a momentary scowl because, like, this is too overt. Oh shit!
This is pretty overt. This is pretty. Like, the only reasonable way to mask this is by claiming it to be like holy and divine, and the fact that people believe this is in any way realistic. And any skeptics would be going, "What the fuck?" or be converted. Which could, yeah, as you say, it's at best pushing the boundaries, at worst more or less in violation.
I did have a question for you that is important. It's something I might do later for the lols. As Keeper of Elysium, you at one point said, I can declare spots Elysium, can't I?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. I might pull some shenanigans later.
Okay.
Declare the Fountain Elysium for my own, sick amusement. But he will, as I said, he will wait. He will wait until she's done because this is important enough that he is willing to eat a touch of humble pie just so she will actually, answer the important questions.
Okay, yeah, she goes through about 6 people before then standing up, and then like kind of in a very, it's a very slight bow to the crowd, very slight. It's more like a nod, and she speaks in a very soft tone to them, and says, "I'll be back in but a short moment. Please be patient. I apologize. I'll be with you again soon." And she will join you off in a corner somewhere. At which point, any semblance of civility quickly fades from her face, and she just looks flatly at you with this sort of A passive disdain.
He will smile, that tight smile. Like, but he will raise his hand and he will say, now, daughter of death, or daughter of life, perhaps, you and I have no quarrel. But before we begin this little conversation, I'm well aware of your age, I'm well aware of your power, but know that I'm not afraid of you. The worst you can do is kill me. You could possibly do something with my soul, but then again, I am a servant above all else. If I die in service.
You would be far more of use to me dead anyway.
Of that, I have no doubt whatsoever. However, I'm not very easy to kill, and also if we were to have a confrontation, for the record, I will point out, he is never meeting her gaze, and he is staying at least a hand and a half distance away. So if she was to reach for him, he would have time to jump back.
Just, yep, arm's length at all times.
Yep, basically.
Must be this tall to ride.
But no, the important thing is I'm pointing this out, he is not making eye contact with her.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, no, he can't do that, unfortunately. But so he will say, I believe I have uncovered why it is. Oh, just to clarify, she came to Giles' auction actively looking for the tablet, didn't she?
No, she came to talk to the court of the city.
Oh, okay, I got that wrong. But anyway, he will say, I believe you're one of the only kindred in the city who's old enough to answer some questions for me. And I assure you that the answering to these questions will quite possibly save the city from the oblivion that I believe it is currently spiraling towards, which I do believe neither of us want. So, temporary truce, until the night ends at least. I will not say that we are friends, but maybe at least speak amicably.
I don't really understand why everybody thinks I can save the city. Is it not
Oh,
logical to assume that if I could do so, I would have done so already?
I don't think you can, but I think you can provide the information that can enable action towards its salvation. We are all but pieces that move a wheel. None of us is the wheel itself. To think otherwise is hubris.
Oh, in that you are quite correct.
So he will contemplate from before. You know what? Fuck it. He will move from the inside of his robe, and he will hand her one of his. He will hand her his copy of the transcription of the tablets written in Frankish. Because I assume they're conversing in Frankish, or are they conversing in Arabic?
Yeah, she seems to scan it for what is about a fraction of a second.
Hmm.
I see.
Now, my interest in this matter is a being, an entity whose name on this I do not know. It was my summation that, yes, indeed, I have those, that the entity in question named as the writer is indeed Mary the Black. Black Mary, however you wish to associate her, but this name, he taps it with his finger. This is the name of Makail. Now, this name is interesting. If you remove the abbreviations between it, you get Machiel or Malchiel, which is the name that the Judeo-Christians associate with the Archangel Michael, also known as the Giver of Life. I'm wondering if that is a mere coincidence, or if there was a being who went by this name long since gone in the past that you may know, as you are, as it has been pointed out to me, rather ancient.
One moment. I recall several several of our kind from the ancient Roman period that referred to themselves as Mikhail. Whereas, of course, also the now deceased ancient of clan Toreador Michael, who at the time was known as Beshta. As for
Sorry.
this Mikhail figure that is named in your transcriptions, well, I'm not entirely sure I can say. As I said, there were several. There weren't that many of us back then, but there are enough of us for names to overlap, particularly given the fact that many of them came from more common backgrounds.
I see. Interesting. Interesting. Now, how to phrase this? How to phrase this? You have, however, I sense a theory as to who it might be. Not necessarily correct, but who you believe it could be. I assume from the way it was written here that it refers to the sire of Mary the Black, the one who made her in that dark, festering charnel pit I have no doubt they both crawled from.
I am personally unaware of Mary's origin. I have never met her, although I have known of her for about a century. But she hasn't been a target of mine for quite a long time. I know enough about her to know that she is extremely dangerous.
Undoubtedly.
But not enough to tell you her unlife secrets. It's possible from what you have here that she is a Canite. It is also possible she is something else. This could be anything from pre-embrace to Gul'dan to fledglinghood. She could already be an elder. She could be under the effects of a blood bond. From how she refers to Miss Mikhail, she is clearly affectionate, likely in love with him.
Ah, yes, to love. Not just an affliction of the old or affliction of the young, I think, from time to time. But then again, it depends. Yes.
So if a Canite or Ghoul, likely the blood bond. She states that very flatly.
Interesting. Interesting. Perhaps I sense that you're an individual who does not care for things as petty as the trading of boons. But I sense that you are, at least in part, rather dedicated towards the city's good, or at least the good of the people here within. Would that be a fair statement? Otherwise, why would you heal the sick?
Why does it pertain to you?
Because I have one further question that you may be able to answer for us. An important question. A question that someone of your clan is uniquely disposed to answering, and someone with your knowledge is uniquely disposed towards giving an answer to.
Oh, I'm actually going to type you something real quick, Evan, because you should actually notice, and I never actually wrote it down for you.
Okay, that's on Facebook, I think.
I'll just put it in the chat for the moment.
Rage typing. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. So, with this in mind, I would ask a service of you, my lady. As I said, it should not take but a few scant hours of your time, and it may well enable us to deal with this reticent creature, Mary the Black, in a more direct manner.
Ah, yes, I remember the last time one of us was direct. The entire court was almost killed.
Yes, but then again, I'm not responsible for the weaknesses of others.
Hmm.
It's rather simple, really. I am led to believe that when you're coming into physical contact with these entities, that certain weak-willed individuals, or rather, when coming into contact with certain items, certain weak-willed individuals have fallen prey to unpleasant effects. I would therefore surmise that these black stone or these black clay tablets upon which these stories have been inscribed, I believe they contain a vestige of a soul. And I was wondering if you had the power to confirm that for me. I believe the soul has been split into pieces, or that there is some kind of spiritual essence that still resides within them, and I merely wish clarification of the point.
I can already confirm to you that these items are infested with the echo of who the author used to be. I suppose you could call them fragments of a soul, but that would be inaccurate. It is closer to an echo, or part of a corpse.
Ah, however, the question is, what happens when the echo is gathered together? Does it become a shout?
That question is something that even I would have difficulty answering, but through the myriad of possibilities that I have foreseen, all of them result in massive death and destruction, and suffering. At the very least, the end of this continent, if not the world.
My, such melodrama those demonologists and diabolists.
It is their stated goal to bring about the end. At least that's what I've heard from a few times I've encountered them.
Well, interesting. So you say it is the remnant of what the individual used to be. Interesting. Interesting. For if a demon walks in a shell, would it not then be the soul of the original host, that thing that was Mary herself, that is the echo?
Hmm. I suppose one could speculate as to that, but the simple fact is, matters ephemeral, and simply as unusual as these are difficult to truly find common solidified ground on.
Hmm. Perhaps an experiment needs to be done. I thank you for your time, my lady. Once again, as I said, I do not believe that you would trade in something as petty as boons, but if you should ever require my assistance, you have but to ask.
Be careful what you play with.
Always. When one has stared into the abyss, oftentimes the abyss stares back into you.
I have seen the abyss. This is far worse.
Hmm.
The abyss is trivial in comparison.
Fascinating. Truly fascinating. But I thank you for your time. You have been most helpful. In that case, I shall leave you to your faith healing and wish you a very good evening. Where are my manners? I did not even give my name. My most sincere apologies. Solahdrin, the Obsidian Viper, Keeper of Elysium, and many other things besides, at your service.
So is that 1 second? I actually need to ask this question because it's kind of a big deal. Is Solahdrin is because I never actually asked this question.
Solahdrin is not his real name.
Yeah.
Basically,
Is it? I don't actually see it.
Oh, that's because he doesn't actually have one. He gave it up. Basically, when he was embraced, because essentially, I used the logic of he essentially became no one. So Solahdrin Nahal Naldrona is his full name, which a friend of mine from Iran told me. Basically, I asked him what it would be. It essentially means I am nobody.
Oh, that's clever.
And so the Obsidian Viper could be considered his name, but that was the title he was given when he was embraced. When he forsook his real name, because in the service of Set he needed no name. So that's why he can legitimately say I am no one and not lie.
Fair enough.
So no, he did not give her his true name or anything verbose like that. But yeah, no, I told MA that the other day and she also thought it was pretty cool.
Yes,
but
there is no need for introductions. I am well aware of who you are.
Well, people simply call you the Wishing Woman, though I would like to call you by something more appropriate, if I may ask your name.
The Wishing One will do fine. That is all I am known as, and it is all I prefer to be known as.
As you say. Well, in that case, I shall bid you good evening, Wishing Woman, and hope that the night brings you many delectations of the evening.
She walks away.
Solahdrin stands there for a moment before he contemplates. Well, he both gained nothing and everything out of that conversation. He's trying to work it out. An echo. An echo is an interesting concept. Though he now thinks I have a way of trapping the Wishing Woman if I really want to. Not the Wishing, not the. He thinks I have a way of trapping Mary the Black if I really want to. But is it too dangerous to use? Yes. Would it be funny to use? No. Would it be funny if we had the Tremere use it? Yes.
Where are you? In an alleyway or an alcove?
Yeah, I assume it was in an alleyway.
Okay, we'll say an alcove and an alleyway for completion's sake. As she's already walked out of the alcove. Before she walks out of the alleyway, she does stop and turn for a moment. It's actually quite sudden, almost as if it was unexpected. She kind of turns sideways towards you and just says, I doubt Ishrai would approve the use of such infernal items. I would take your Primogen's advice and keep it sealed away for as long as you can.
Did she just use my Primogen's actual name? I think she just did. Fuck. Oh well.
No, she used your sire's name.
Oh, that's even more terrifying. The eyebrow will go up and he will say, of course, of course. When the time comes. He looks up at her and there's an odd kind of look in his face. When the time comes and when 5 fires burn brightly, when it is the doors that should not be opened are such, and when it is that all that was dawn seems to be swallowed by the blackest night, then we shall see the children of Set who will stand resolute as their founder did to safeguard Ra from Apophis. So it is we shall guard this place until the dawn. It is simple.
Of course. I've already reserved my chair. I'll see you then. And she'll walk away.
Solahdrin will kind of crack the knuckles. And with that, he will depart from this god-forsaken or too godly or overly godded place. All of the above.
All of the above. All of the above. Why is everything bad?
Why is
everything
everything
in Odessa? Why does it reside in Abraham's fountain? Because
Why
it is Abraham's fountain.
Everything is made of Jesus.
Everything is made of Jesus. And Muhammad and Abraham. And that, I think, is where we shall end this scene. With Solahdrin getting out of this really terrible place that, well, nobody but the usurpers seem content to live in, which I think is rather fitting. Thank you, Claire, for playing. Thank you for watching. We'll see you all next time.